Hello, and welcome to another episode of Sisters in Service. This is Kat Corchado, your host. Today we have an entrepreneur. Her name is Jessica, and she is the owner and CEO of Jessica's Exquisite Images. Hi, Jessica. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you? So tell us a little bit about your business. First of all, let me backtrack. Tell us about your service. Your branch of service, how long you served.
Well, I was active duty Air Force for 3.5 years.
Yay, Air Force. Sorry. Every time I hear someone Air Force, I'm like, yay.
I got out due to pregnancy complications. But then 2 years later, I just felt it was in my blood. And so I went Army Reserve, and I did Army Reserve. Just at 13 years, I just actually discharged September 30th of 2020.
Now, you were an Air Force military brat, right?
I was. My dad did 30 years, retired Chief Master Sergeant. I lived in Stuttgart, Germany, San Vito, Italy. I graduated in Anchorage, Alaska. So I seen most of overseas before I was 16 years old. If I could do it again, I would, just to have the opportunity to travel on the military's dime and actually see the world at a young age, but to understand it and realize how fortunate we are to be in the military as a dependent and then to also serve as a service member.
Absolutely. That's how I started. I was born into the Air Force. My dad was already in, and I traveled all over Germany. I went to high school in Germany, graduated in Germany. I actually went to Stuttgart because I used to run track. And so Stuttgart, we were there all the time. So, I felt fortunate as a child because I thought everyone did this. This is what you do. You live
Right.
somewhere for 4 or 5 years and you move.
Move.
And then, to hear of someone living in the same place all their life is like foreign to me. I'm like, what?
Yes.
So I totally
Yes.
understand.
Now with the Army going on 10 years and people ask me, oh, you're from Texas? And I say, no, I'm from everywhere, because I just
Absolutely.
feel like I've been wanting to move every 3 years since 8 years ago, and I'm still stuck. But my mindset is I'm going to eventually move again.
It's hard, isn't it? You get,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, it's time to go. Or when people say, where are you from? And I'm like, oh gosh, okay, here we go. And they're like, you don't know where you're from. I'm like, it's hard. It's
Right.
complicated. Now, you are also a veteran of 2 different services. Can you explain to our audience a little bit about that?
Well, like I said, Air Force I was at Moody Air Force Base in Valdosta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I enlisted in Alaska after high school. And I was a 4AO, which is a medical records technician.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that was just for a short period of time, before I received an honorable discharge in order to, I guess, be a full-time parent, along with the complications that came with it. So that's where the Air Force veteran came in. And then in 2008, I joined the Army Reserve. Kind of played around with that for a little while, just because I was at a unit for chemicals for almost 4 years before getting transferred to the medical unit. And then another 2 years before being reclassed to my actual medical MOS. So it was
A journey.
a running ball. Sure. And then September of 2020 is when I decided that I was time to hang in my papers, because I wasn't progressing as I would have liked.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to just say, hey, I'm in the military, but I'm not growing in my career.
So, question for you. Out of
Mm-hmm.
all the bases you were at, either as a dependent or being in the military, what was your favorite assignment?
Well, that's a hard one. Uh, I really like Germany, just to be able to go to the flea markets, to get the pretzels, the bratwurst. I mean, Germany was just
Oh,
amazing.
and the pommes frites. Remember
Yes,
those? Oh man, those were awesome.
yes. Oh, so good. And let's not forget the Kinder eggs, which
Yeah.
are now imitated now in America. And I
Oh
have to tell
yeah.
people all the time, those are not the real Kinder
It's
eggs. Like,
not the
you have
real
to go to
thing.
Germany to get the real experience of a Kinder egg and being able to put the pieces together and putting it on your shelf and think you accomplished something because you figured out how to put a German toy together. And so it will be between Germany and Alaska,
Mhm.
because I went my junior year of high school. um it was just a different experience, but what I liked about, again, being a military brat is you meet a lot of people from all over. And when I moved to Alaska, a family that we knew in Alexandria, Louisiana, when I was in kindergarten, was also in Alaska. And me and their daughter had kindergarten pictures together, and then we had high school pictures together. And when we
Whoa.
would tell the story, people would be like, "What? Y'all knew each other in kindergarten?" And we're like, "Yeah, we left each other in first grade, and now we're juniors in high school, and we reconnect, or we reunite with each
Mhm.
other."
That's
So
pretty cool.
Alaska, I experienced a lot more there because I had someone that I knew, and I wasn't feeling as if,
Mhm.
oh, I'm in a new place, my last 2 years of school. Now I have to meet new friends. I kind of went into the
Mm.
school year almost knowing half of the school because I hung out with her the entire summer. So
Right.
Alaska and Germany both gave me insight of just different worlds.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'd go back to either one of them right now. If someone would say, "Hey, you want to go?" I'd be on the first flight.
Beyond the first, yeah. I totally agree. I just think that it was just something that you were used to doing, until I ran into someone who said, "Oh, you poor thing, you have to travel all the time." And I'm like, "Poor thing. I've seen
Mm-mm.
countries that you will never get to see." And I
Yes.
felt lucky at that point, but even to this day I look back and you see the world so much differently when you
Yes.
live there and you speak the language. Well, not all of it, but you know enough to get around. The local currency, and you've eaten the food
Mm-hmm.
there, and it gives you just a different appreciation, I think, for each country
Yes.
individually. But it was always nice to come back to the States, I have to say. It was always nice to get
It,
back.
it was. But I feel as military brats and as service members, we're more open to change than
Yes.
a regular civilian that
Right.
grew up in one town and stayed in that town. Now they raise their kids there, and now their grandkids are there. So we can adjust a lot faster and quicker than someone else that is just familiar with one specific town or city.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your photography a little bit. When did you know that this was something you just like to do? Before you even thought about it being a business, were you that person always the one taking the pictures, but never in the picture?
Yeah, I was that one that wherever we went, I'm like, wait, let's take a picture. Wait, let's take a picture. And it wasn't until I really got into the photography business that I looked back over and of my life, and I told my mom, this was your calling. She was the military wife, stay at home, did a home daycare,
Mhm,
but I can go to her house right now and she has a whole dresser full of books from Switzerland, from
mhm,
England, from Paris, from everywhere. And back then I did not recall necessarily her taking so many pictures, but
mhm.
to go back and look, I'm like, oh, you were the photographer when I was a kid. And so that's where I feel like I got it from her without knowingly knowing that that's where I got it from.
By osmosis, it just kind of seeped into your body and you didn't even
Yes,
realize
yes.
it.
And
So
so
we're
people started would say, "Oh my gosh, okay, Linda," and I'd be like, "What?" They're like, "Your mama always be taking pictures," and I'm like,
Mhm,
"Okay," but then it started. It was the flashback of, "Oh yeah, we have all these books of everywhere we've been." So people won't say, "Girl, you lying? You ain't been to England?" Yes, I have, and
mhm,
here's a book full of portraits to prove it. Um, So that's where it kind of started. I just randomly would always take pictures. I would always be that person to wherever we were, I want a picture. I want a certain outfit. If the lighting was off, if this was messed up, we take 10, 20 pictures. They'd be like, come on, can we go eat already?
Mm-hmm.
So once I think in 2016, I had my daughter and I would always just take pictures, but I had two other daughters prior. So my husband at the time was like, why you always taking pictures? And he does not take pictures at all.
At all.
Like,
He probably
threaten
hates
him to take.
his picture being
He
taken,
hates
doesn't he?
pictures, but he didn't grow up with pictures being taken either. So
Mm-hmm.
his mindset is I don't want to take pictures. Um, so I started 2016 just looking around, or 2015, like really, really taking them. Then a friend asked me about doing her wedding, and I said, I don't have a camera. What do you mean you don't have a camera? As much as you post, yeah, I do it with my phone.
Right.
So then it went from, well, you need to get a camera because you have an eye and you'll be good. You're people friendly. You don't meet a stranger. So my husband bought me a camera for my birthday in December of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, here you go, start your
Mm-hmm.
business. And in January, I went down to the courts and got my license. And then I just gradually started. So my first wedding, which was the friend that asked me,
Mm-hmm.
which again goes back to military. I knew her in Germany when I was in third grade. And now she's in New York about to get married. And she's like, hey, I want my friend that I've known since third grade in Germany to come and take my pictures.
Wow.
And so it was my first wedding. I flew from Texas to New York and
Mm-hmm.
did her wedding. And then from there, it just spiraled.
So photography
Once I did
is
her,
more like it's an art form. You have to have a certain
yeah,
eye for color and for, you know, my husband and I, it's funny, we were just discussing this today because during our walk, and he was saying, you know, it's a form of art and you have to know exactly the right lighting and the right colors to wear and the right uniform, you know, whatever that is. And I so don't have that. Okay. Just saying, I so don't have that. So was it a natural progression for you to just say, hey, I might as well put this, you know, I might as well not make some money because it's definitely something you enjoy doing, but it was just a natural progression for you to go into business as a photographer, correct?
yes. At first I was like, oh, it's just a hobby. And then random people that knew me would say, hey, we're having this, you bringing your camera? No, I didn't plan on it.
I, I
So
don't
then it
take it
was like,
everywhere I go.
so my husband's like, I didn't buy the camera for it to just sit there and collect dust. Okay, so then just gradually, it started picking up. My daughter was kindergarten, and her teacher knew that I had just gotten a camera, so she was like, "Hey, can you come and do our pre-graduation pictures?" And she picked some Paris theme backdrop, and I said, "Where am I supposed to get that from?"
Hmm.
And so then I started researching, and they have all kinds of backdrop companies and Amazon and you name it.
See,
So
look at
I
that.
purchased the and I went to her daycare and I took pictures, and I'm like, I don't know what my packages are supposed to be. So I just started Googling, YouTubing, finding just items that would be beneficial for each family. Because my
Right.
mindset, which I'm slowly getting out of, is if I was the client, would I pay that?
Hmm.
And that started to be my downfall
Yeah.
because I am a people person, and I'm like, if they say, oh, I can't, then I'm like, oh, well, what can you? Oh, 20, yeah, that's fine. But
Yeah.
you're really package. So it started with the daycare, and now 5 years later, I am her full-time fall, spring, holiday, and pre-K grad photographer. I do
So you've
sessions for,
traveled quite a ways for your photography. Like you said, you traveled
yes.
to New York. So what is that the furthest you've traveled to? You know, of course it was for a friend, but you know, someone said, "Hey, you know, I'll fly you on my jet to."
Now
to
I'm hoping for that to happen soon. Right now it's only been New York for a wedding. New Las Vegas in June was for a 30th party or 30th
Wow.
photo shoot,
Hmm.
and then Atlanta for
Hmm.
a high school senior.
Now you're in
Those are the
Texas,
ones,
correct? You're in Texas,
right?
Houston,
I
correct?
mean, yes. But
Awesome.
I travel often to San Antonio, which is about 3 hours away.
Hmm.
I've done many weddings, maternity, newborn pictures that way, and also to Louisiana, which is the opposite direction, which is 3 to 6 hours as well. And of course, I drive to those.
Hmm.
Um,
So when you
but
started to
yes,
do this for a business, how easy was it? So let me set the picture. Um, I look at Texas as the big brother slash big sister as far as veterans are concerned because they are so far ahead of every other state. Now, there are other states doing stuff, don't get me wrong. I'm in North Carolina, and North Carolina is still a toddler as far as I'm concerned when it comes to veterans, and they're getting there, but we still don't have a Woman Veterans Day that we celebrate and everything, but we're getting there. So when you started your business in Texas, how easy was that? Was it just a matter of getting a license? Was it just you just did the necessary steps and voila, you were in business?
I wish it was that easy. So I did do the license, and then I had thanks to the military, I had my GI Bill. So I started going to school, taking courses under digital communication, digital photography,
Mhm.
just so I could get more exposure to angles, to lighting, to your settings of your camera. Because at this point, I was doing everything hands on. I was
Mhm.
playing with the lighting, playing with the lenses, YouTubing, getting cheat sheets, just doing it on my own and not having that
Right.
professional guidance as far as this is the best way to do a wedding, or this is the best
Mhm.
lighting for sports. So it was all a learning process. So it started with the license, then it started with me taking classes.
Mhm.
But being how I am, going to the classes, I was in between because some of the teachers wanted like dark gothic type portraits, and I would always get a lower grade because mine were more brightness, or my
Mhm.
lighting was always too bright, and I would have to explain to the professor, I don't know how to take darkish
Dark.
dark
Yeah.
lighting portraits because not where my passion is.
Right.
So eventually I had to venture out and say, hey, I learned what I needed to, but at the same time, let me continue doing it my way, because my
Mhm.
way is getting me somewhat successful.
Business. Right.
In Houston, it is hard because, like you say, Houston is very, very large, and the photographers are everywhere, from every
Really?
ethnicity, every gender. I mean, if wedding or boudoir or sports, like there's so many photographers that it's almost
Mhm.
like you're in competition with anything that you do here in Houston. That's
So
the only downside.
my question is, do you have a niche or do you just, I know most photographers, excuse me, will say, they take still pictures and they take, babies and weddings, but is there a niche that you're working towards or that you know of right now or no?
No.
Okay.
I've been told by my professor that I need to pick one thing. But it's hard because it started with weddings, then it went to quinceañeras, then
Mhm.
it went to sports, then
Mhm.
it went to daycares, then it went back to sports, then it went to newborns. And it's like, I don't, the ones that have the clients that have contacted me, I don't want to say no, because
Right.
again, it's an opportunity.
Right.
Because Houston being the size that it is, it's more of word of mouth, not necessarily. You can have the top of the line website,
Right.
social media ads going like crazy,
Mhm.
but a lot, at least 90% of my work has came from word of mouth.
That's
Um,
not
and so
bad. That's
hard
not bad,
to have,
you know.
yeah. So it's hard to just be like, oh, I'm gonna stick to just real estate, or I'm gonna stick to just
Mhm.
families, or it's hard. So I think that's the only thing that puts me out there differently is
Mhm.
because I don't stick to one specific photography.
Gotcha. So is your family involved in your business, or is it just kind of a Jessica thing?
Oh no, 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 no. It's a family affair. It is a family affair. The quinceanera, done a few family reunions. My husband is there when he can be, because he's military as well. So
Mhm.
our schedules are completely different. But he's came and he sat there, and I'll take the pictures. I'll hand him the flash drive or the SIM card, and he prints them out. And if they have questions, he'll say, "Oh, I'm not the photographer; she is," or "You have to go ask her." My I have three girls. They're 15, 14, and 9. Oh, they're my mini assistants. They have the shirts. They know what to do.
They're like, "Oh, mom
They
was
be
taking
like, oh,
pictures
yes, they help with
again."
props. They help with everything.
That's
So,
awesome,
um,
though. That's something that are they interested in the photography at all?
um,
It's hard to
my
tell.
girl mate, she's more of a can I edit your photos type
Mhm.
person.
Okay.
It depends on what mood she's in, because sometimes I can take them somewhere and they do
Mhm.
fine. Other
Mhm.
times they'll be like, "Oh, your lighting didn't work," and it's like, you know how to fix the lighting.
Right.
So it just depends. The 9-year old, she's bubbly like me. So if we go
Mhm.
to an event, she's gonna have a handful of my cards, and she's gonna walk around to every person and say, "Here you go. This is my mom. She's over there."
She's over
I'm
there.
like, "Sit down, sit down."
Mama, wave.
So yes, it's a family affair. Of course, I do my best to say, "Hey, is this something you want to do?" If they be like, "Not today," I'd be like, "Okay, that's fine."
Yeah.
If they do, then they get their little few extra dollars for
Mhm.
ironing out the backdrop or
Mhm.
loading the equipment in my truck, or just little small things like that. But I have a huge support team,
That's
from
good.
my family to my parents to my friends. They come out to events that I have, and I always get told, "Man, you got a nice support team," because every
Mhm.
other table might have one or two, and I'm gonna have 8 people at my table there to assist in any way that I need.
So what's your favorite type of photography? Like, do you like one, like do you like taking pictures of sports rather than still photos, or do you like photographing babies more than you like weddings, or do you like all of it?
Hmm. I like all of it because each one of them brings on a different client, a different personality, a different exposure.
And a different
Um,
skill set.
yes. When it comes to weddings, if it's indoor, you have to make sure your lighting's right. If it's outdoor, that natural lighting is just beautiful.
Mhm.
Do you have a Godzilla, usually mother-in-law, not usually the brides? Do you have someone that's tweaking because they've done it? I mean, I've done weddings where the brother was a photographer, and it was to the point where I had to control myself because
Right.
he's telling me what
What
poses
to
to do, and
do.
it's like,
Right.
you're bride, you're groomsmen.
Right.
So one is different when it comes to newborns and family pictures. Those are more hands-on,
Mhm.
one-on-one.
Right.
When it comes to daycares, those are a little more out because again, it depends on the child's mood. Do they know you? Are they scared of you? Is there a
Right.
bunch of teachers surrounding saying, "Say cheese, say smile,"
Smile.
and so it's throwing the child off. So
Right.
it's so many different aspects when it comes to it, to where I don't have a favorite, because each
Mhm.
one of them I go in with a different vision
Right.
and what I'm out to.
So you've been featured in several newspapers and magazines. Would you like to elaborate a little bit about that and let our audience know where they can find you in these magazines and newspapers and how wonderful your
Uh,
work is?
well, I know one was featured in the facts for Pearland, which is Pearland, Texas. It was for a grand opening for Apricot Lane.
Mhm.
I guess did their opening ceremony, the ribbon cutting. So I was featured in that magazine, or in that newspaper article. And then again, the Voyage, which is a magazine done here in Houston. So
Mhm.
voyage.com/Houston. And it basically just gave a rundown of who I am, what I do, how I started my journey with my business, telling them about the business, and then how luck has played or hasn't played in my life and in my business.
Awesome. So, last question. Has COVID impacted your business? And if so, how have you pivoted to still make it viable during this time?
It hasn't really as impacted me as I know others have been. Because when COVID started, that was probably in the middle of like graduation, senior type, that season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, um, so it did, but it didn't. Thankfully, I already had my clients set up for July and August or for June and July. So those still went as planned. And then it actually gave me a little more exposure, because some of the ones done, they did it with their mask on, holding the COVID-19. But to me, it's still kind of mellowed out to where I normally would be, because photographers is so big in Houston to where you can snap your finger and you got 400 photographers sending you their links.
Right.
So it didn't make that much of an impact per se.
So, Jessica, if someone wants to find you, what is your email, contact info, Facebook? What's the best way for people to contact you?
So my Facebook and IG are both the same. Jessica's Exquisite Images. I did just set up a new Facebook page, but they're all linked together. Just because I felt the business page on Facebook, it doesn't give you as much leadway, and it's just a little bit more complicated. So, but Facebook and Instagram is Jessica's Exquisite Images. My telephone number is 281-766-0860. That's a business cell. So if you can't call, you can text. And then the email is jessica@exquisiteimagesphotography.com. But I'm reachable. I'm always posting online. I try to stay as active as possible. Right now I'm offering the mini holiday sessions because of the holidays coming up.
Right.
But I do travel. I have no boundaries and I'm very flexible.
Well, that's good to know. I will make sure that we get that information out to the audience so that they know how to contact you. Jessica, it was such a pleasure to have you on the show. I know we've been kind of going back and forth a little bit, and we finally connected, which is amazing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
And if I don't see you, please have a wonderful holiday. And thank you so much for being on the show. So
thank
everyone,
you as well.
You're welcome. So everyone, that was Jessica. Jessica, what's your full name? Jessica Ceasar-Blate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it was a pleasure having you on the show. And for everyone else, please take care of each other and be safe, and we'll see you next time. I hope you will join us again for episode 9 on January 26th, where I will have as my guest Melissa Washington, CEO of the Women Veterans Alliance and a powerhouse when connecting women veterans across the nation. Until then, please take care of each other, and we'll see you again soon.